Hello and welcome to the Financial Times studio in New York, where we, like investors around the world, are trying to make sense of the startling news that Donald Trump has been elected as the next president of the United States. I'm Gillian Tett, the US Managing Editor, and with me is Lionel Barber, the editor of the Financial Times, and Ed Luce, the chief political commentator in America. Lionel, what did you make of this result tonight?
It's a stunning repudiation of the status quo in America. It's a really strong message that people want change, Americans want change, they want new leadership, and they weren't prepared to back Hillary Clinton. With all her experience, they wanted something completely different, and boy, have they got it.
I mean, Ed, you've been writing about this campaign now for months. What do you see happening next?
Look, I think Trump has made the most extraordinary, extravagant, unprecedented, radical promises. He's promised to walk away from the US global order that America created and that America has upheld for the last 70 years. He's promised to fire the chairman of the Federal Reserve. He's threatened to jail his opponent, Hillary Clinton. There's all kinds of stuff that he's not going to be able to do. We should focus on what is within his realistic power. Walking away from NAFTA is quite possible. That's within the president's power. Distancing from NATO, pushing through the largest tax cuts in history, all of these are doable with a Republican-controlled Congress.
But we've just had a victory speech which has taken a much more conciliatory tone than some of the Donald Trumps we've seen on the campaign trail, which have been very dramatic and very aggressive. I mean, Lionel, do you think we can take his words at face value, or do you think we should now look for a dramatic pivot and perhaps an outcome which may not be as bad as some investors in the markets are currently fearing?
Well, the question is whether Mr. Trump, by temperament and intellect, is capable of pivoting. It was absolutely clear that he had a chance to pivot towards the center after the Republican convention, and he chose not to. In retrospect, he was right. He continued with this very aggressive message of change, made a lot of extravagant promises, as Ed said, and it came off. He's won a thumping victory. I would say, given what he said, that he's going to be ditching a few things, and there may be, just big maybe, something called responsible Trump, but it will be qualified and it may not be consistent. Other point is, this is a watershed in the history of the American Republic. We've seen others. In 1932, when Franklin Roosevelt was elected president. My favorite parallel, perhaps, is 1828, when Andrew Jackson, the general who beat the British in 1812, beat the established candidate, succeeded John Quincy Adams, and ushered in a new era of populism in America. He got 2 terms, by the way, Andrew Jackson.
I mean, Ed, having gone around the country, what do you think the main message from voters tonight is?
I think it's to blow up the ordinary business of politics. I don't think necessarily we should impute some of the racism that has been associated with the Trump campaign to everybody who voted for him, or the misogyny. I think there is just a far more general, profound cynicism and anger about politics. And
tonight, do you see any reason for hope? Do you think markets are overreacting?
Well, we shouldn't write off the fact that Mr. Trump, for all his extravagant promises, his inflammatory rhetoric, he's won a decisive victory. And Hillary Clinton, to her credit, has conceded early. She's not tried to contest it. And Mr. Trump, for once, has been very gracious early this morning in paying tribute to Mrs. Clinton. So I think there's a little bit of hope, but it's all going to turn on whether he can turn words into action, or whether we're going to have, to use your phrase, Gillian, constant disruption.
Well, the key message is that there's still a lot to unfold in this extraordinary story. Keep reading the Financial Times, keep watching what we have to say on the videos, and thank you both very much indeed. Get some sleep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gillian.